The FrediTran project is the program that will process inbound EDI files. Let me go ahead and build it. Okay, so here's the program we just built. But before I click on this button, let me copy some test files over to the inbound folder. This scenario is for trading partner A, so I will copy just these 4 files into the inbound folder of trading partner A. I will keep this folder open. Okay, so in the inbound folder, we have 2 EDI files. One bad, which will fail the validation and go to the rejected folder. And a good file, which will pass the validation and continue on the process and will then be moved to the done folder. The 997 acknowledgement files for these 850 EDI files will be generated in the outbound folder. These 2 997 acknowledgement files in the inbound folder will get translated into the SQL database without getting acknowledged, because they are acknowledgement files themselves. After processing, they will be moved to the 997 folder. Now, if we check the tables for the 850 and 997, they should be empty. Okay, they're both empty. Okay, so I've kept these 4 folders open so that when I click on this button, we should see these files move to their appropriate folders, and the tables should get populated with data if the process was successful. So let's start. Okay, so it's done. 4 files were received. So the 4 files that are in the inbound folder are gone. 1 file was accepted, which is this. 1 file was rejected, which is this. 2 997 EDI files, which are these. And in the outbound folder are the 2 acknowledgement EDI files that were created for the 2 inbound, for this and this 850 EDI files. And if we view the tables, this one has data, and so does the 997. Now let's close all these folders and program and view the source code. So just like the generate program, the translate program has the create SQL tables folder that has scripts to create the tables for data in the inbound EDI files. It has a CEF folder that contains CEF files for the inbound EDI files for this trading partner, and class modules for each transaction set that we will be translating here. In the app config, the value in the trading partner key should have the name of your trading partner, just as it is in the other projects. Similarly, if these folders are not set up in the EDIDB, then these default values in the config file will be used. Now let's view the code behind the process button. Here it is. First, the 997 acknowledgement CEF files loaded, as well as the CEF files of the inbound EDI files for this trading partner. Then each EDI file in the inbound folder is read. This calls the class act997. Let's open it. Here is the read method. So as you can see here, by enabling these properties, this tells the component to create an acknowledgement file when it is reading the EDI file, which happens here. And at the same time, it is identifying the transaction set of the EDI file. So the next step is to check the validation result. This calls the validation method of the act997. Here it is. It checks the segment AK9 of the 997, and if it finds an R, then the EDI file is rejected, else it's accepted. If the inbound EDI file was accepted, then we continue with the translation. If it was rejected, then the EDI file is not translated and simply moved to the rejected folder. If the inbound EDI file was a 997, it skips the validation and acknowledgement process and simply gets translated here. This is where the 997 acknowledgement file is created for the inbound EDI files that were not 997 acknowledgement files themselves. And that's all to this method. But let me back up where this method calls the translate process. Here it is. So when the inbound EDI file is identified to be an 850 EDI file, it will call the translate file method of the tran 850 class. Let's view it. Here's the translate file method. This is where the EDI file gets translated into the database. The translation algorithm is similar to our examples you may have seen before. Here is where the EDI file gets loaded into the EDI document object. Then starting from the first data segment, we iterate through each segment in a loop and identify them by their segment ID, loop section, and area. Once the segment is identified, we then obtain the values from its data element and populate the database fields. We do this for all segments in the EDI file. And that's it for the Tran 850 class. Now, let's say if there was another inbound EDI file of another transaction set, like for example, an 852 that I had to translate. I'd first make a copy of the Tran 850 class module, rename it to Tran 852, then change every 850 word to 852 for this document. There. I now have an 852 class module. But of course, I still have to modify the code in the translate file method to make it specific to the 852 guideline for this trading partner. I would also have to create a set file for the 852 guideline, as well as create tables for it. However, I won't do it in this video, but maybe in later videos I'll show how it is done in detail. Once we have all that done, can we call the Tran 852 class from the act procedure of the Tran form. Like so. This is basically a copy of this code. If the 852 passes the validation and is accepted, then translate the 852 EDI file. Otherwise, just copy it to the rejected folder. This code is a copy of this code. And we're done. So that's how you would build on this solution to add another transaction set for translation. And if I wanted another translate program for a different trading partner, then I just do the same steps when I added this generate project for trading partner B. So first, I'll make a copy of this project. I'll copy this folder. Rename it. Then open it in a different instance of Visual Studio. Rename the project from FrediTran Trading Partner A to FrediTran Trading Partner B. Then change everything in the code that says trading partner A to trading partner B. Then save it. Then include the project into the solution. And there we have it. So here is the translate project for trading partner B. Let's double check the app config file to make sure that the company name of the trading partner says trading partner B. And it does. So that's good. So this is just a framework for this project. You still have to go through each class and modify them or delete them or add a class for another transaction set for this particular trading partner. You also have to create the set files for each of the EDI guideline for this trading partner. And if this trading partner has new transaction sets that the tables have not been created yet, then you'd have to create them also. We have the translate and generate projects as Windows Form applications for illustration purposes. They would actually be more practical if they were a Windows service or a console application that run on a scheduler so that the process can be automated. And that's about it. Hopefully this series of videos have explained the idea of the FrediApp solution. So in summary, the FrediApp is basically something to give programmers that are wanting to create an EDI solution a starting point that is organized, so that they don't feel being overwhelmed of designing something or having to consider everything EDI related from scratch. For more details, visit us at EDIDev.com. Thanks.